Lesson 6.2, Add Narrative Views and Custom Formulas. This lesson, we're going to work with some narrative displays. This works great with adding either filters or conditions to the data so that only certain data displays, and then you can add some text in and around the data to give some narrative description as to what people are seeing. Again, a little further analysis. We can utilize custom formulas here as well. So we can use that percent of change, that's a custom formula, and we can make decisions and narrative displays based on that information as well. Creating a narrative view. We're going to create a query with a filter, with a new formula, and we're going to add a filter to the new formula. So let's start by new analysis, our B sample training area, and we want products, product type. Okay. We want time, month, and we want time series, which is under calculated facts. There's time series. And we want the 121 column, which is revenue from 1 year ago. And in base facts, base facts, we want revenue, and we want revenue twice. We're going to add a filter for the month. So we're going to add a filter for month. There we go. Is in 2010, November of 2010. All right. The second revenue, we're going to go ahead and edit the formula on the base facts, edit formula on the second one. And we're basically going to put that same calculation back in. Divide. Notice I'm just clicking and making sure it's not highlighted. We're going to divide by a period ago. It's not quite the same formula. We're going to minus 1 times 100. And we're basically going to encapsulate a couple things with parentheses. This one, we're going to do the divide first, okay? Then we're going to subtract 1 from it, and then we're going to multiply it by 100. We're going to change this, custom headings, get rid of, we can leave the base facts, and this is revenue percent change. Rev percent change versus prior month. Okay? And we don't need month spelled out, I guess. I'm crystal clear on these things. There you go. Okay. And then again on this column we want column properties, and we're going to give it a little bit of a format. Treat under the data format, treat number as, override the default, yes, treat it as a percentage. Decimal places, 1 decimal place, and we'll use the 1,000 separators if it gets that big. Okay. And when I'm going to save this as revenue. This is prior month. Okay. Save that, and it's saved. And now I'm going to go to the results. And sure enough, I've got some where revenue has gone down some. We've got negative numbers. Where it has gone up some, we've got positive numbers. And of course, we can sort by that column if we so desire. Now we're going to go back to our criteria, and we're going to add a custom filter. So we've got our percent change. We're going to do options, and we're going to add a filter to this column, okay? And we want to know when it is less than 0. Okay? And it did our and again. We could have put it down here, or you can do those filters right off the column, and then it's a little less filling in. You don't have to select the column, and then we go back to our results, and it should just be the negative numbers, and it is. How about that? Now we're going to create a narrative view. We've got our title, we've got our table. Remember, we can pretty up the title. We've already talked about that. There's our table. We can change the columns and change and do our column formatting if we want. There's our add to briefing book if we want. Now we're going to add a other views, under views, other views, and we want narrative. It's right here in the middle. And there's the narrative view. And we're going to click the icon in here, because right now we don't have any information in there. And it's got this prefix, it's got line breaks, it can contain HTML markup. Okay, so if you're an HTML person, you can do that. But basically, in the narrative part, we want to, it's interesting. I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to say done for now. This is the first field. This is the second field, third field, fourth field, and fifth field. Okay? So what we've got in the narrative is, let's go back to the narrative, and I'm going to edit that. And in the narrative field, I can say at 1, the first field declined at 5, that percentage, in at 2, which is the month and year, as compared to the prior month. Okay, and I put a period on it. I can highlight these and bold them. Okay. And I can put a line break in here. Notice how it jumbled everything together down here. I can put a line break in here. I can center it. I can underline it. I can do some other neat formatting things with it. So I bolded a couple of things. Let's see how that came out for us. So there's our table with our data, and there's our narrative view. Accessories declined, these products declined 9.8% as compared to the prior month. It didn't pick up our bolding quite right, but it looks like it should have taken, it just didn't for some reason. And we can contain HTML markup. Let's try that just for kicks and giggles, and let's see what it did for us. Still didn't bold anything. Might have found a little one of those little gotchas in this particular release of the software. So we'd take that bold out to get rid of that \B. But there's our narrative display. It gives us useful information. We can, of course, put more filters in to get rid of the information that we want and whittle it down to just the items that we do want in the report.